This programme is brought to you by Taom Billiards.
Too fast, too fly, too flaunty, too gas, too high, yeah, we on it. We go wherever the crew going. I'm ready, so tell me who want it.
Evening. Welcome back to Free Sports. Live pool on your screens this Monday night. It's the Super Series, and we've been enjoying it so much over the course of the last weekend. It continues in earnest tonight as Kyle Brown takes on David McNamara. Already, we've seen some fantastic games, and we hope that continues this evening. Before we head into the action, though, let's take a look back at yesterday. A masterclass from Aaron Davies. Davies lines up the first shot of the night, and would you believe that?
Absolutely incredible.
Rack him up again, Donna. For another night of pool here on Free Sports. Lovely to have you with us. Simon, lovely as always to have you with us as well. A great game last night and a really impressive performance from one Aaron Davies.
Fantastic game last night. The best performance we've seen so far in this event. Aaron, his match play was absolutely fantastic. It wasn't eye-catching clearances, but he was playing really, really solid match play, laying a snooker, laying the containing shot, waiting for his opportunity, and very clinical when he got it.
And you've been away in your bunker going through the maths and the angles and the stats. What have you got for us, Simon? You've been picking apart some bits of the performance last night.
Yeah, it was a tough night at the office for Emma. She started off poorly. She had chances that she wasn't able to take, but for me what it was, she was trying to take out big finishes. This is a great example of it. She's made the big shots for the double to open up what was a tough table, and then she misses her next pot. And what it felt like was that she was getting a lot of layouts like this, where she was having to take on big shots and try and make big finishes, and then coming unstuck after making either of a very good shot. And then if you do that consistently, then you're going to make the game easier for your opponent. And the other thing for Emma is that she puts a lot of pressure on herself as one of the great champions from the ladies' side of the game, and then when she's playing in these events, she's almost putting the whole pressure of the ladies' game on her shoulders, and that doesn't do her any favours. She is a great champion, she is a worthy champion, and unfortunately last night was just a bad night at the office for her, but she'll be back because she is a great champion.
Yeah, and it's worth pointing out as well, Aaron Davies did play phenomenally well. He's certainly one to watch in this tournament. This year's beaten World Championship finalist, the winner of that, of course, already into the quarterfinals. We do have two brand new players, though, on the Super Series today. Simon caught up with them earlier.
It's great to have you here at the Free Sports Super Series. Before we get into tonight's match, I want to try and find out your background in the sport.
Yeah, just play locally in Runcorn, really. Owen Warrington. Started playing off in Runcorn and then moved over to Warrington when they sort of adapted the black ball rules, and Runcorn was still playing old EPA really. So yeah, and I got playing county pool in Warrington and the local pubs, and just started going from there really.
Carl, great to have you at the event. Before we talk about tonight, I just want to get a feel for your background in the sport.
Yeah, so I've not played many competitions, to be honest with you. It's more just challenge matches that I've done over the last course of 5 or 6 years, something like that. I started playing pool when I was 14, and it was just by chance really that I lived near a club that obviously had the pool tables, and I just went through a stage of a couple of years, coming home from school, going straight down the club, playing pool for about an hour or so, going home, and then that was my night done with, really, and that's how it got started.
As well as being a very good pool player, you're also a very good cricketer. How have you been able to sort of mix the two sports? Because pool's played all year round.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's probably people watching this now saying he's not a good cricketer, but, you know, whatever. Yeah, so there's only a couple of events in the summer, and, you know, I'd rather be out playing cricket in the open field in the hot weather. So I'd rather play a bit more cricket than pool in the summer, but you've got to give up a few games to play on the tours and obviously keep practicing. But the hot weather, you go through a few months over here where you do get the hot days, don't you? So it's pretty much just picking and choosing your games which you can play in, really, and playing the main pool events.
You prefer the challenge matches, the money matches, over the tournament play?
Yeah, I do, to be honest, yeah. I've never really been one to enjoy tournament play, hence why I've not really played that many. Yeah, I enjoy the excitement of having quite a lot of people around watching, especially obviously a lot of friends and that. So yeah, that definitely tickles my fancy.
How's lockdown been for you?
Driving me insane, to be honest. I haven't really played much. My dad ended up getting an AstroTurf in the back garden, so we ended up getting a few mugs in the garden and started queuing balls into them. But my mum shouted at me because I broke my favourite Batman cup, so she wasn't happy with me.
How's lockdown been for you?
God, dreadful is the only way I can describe it. Not got a pool table. Luckily, my mate who's come with me today, Eddie, he's got a table in his garden, so I've managed to have a few games here and there, but the conditions are so difficult that it's not like playing normal pool, so I'm a bit apprehensive as to what Kyle's going to turn up tonight, but hopefully, with the clock being in play, you just kind of get down and play your natural game, so hopefully I can still play well.
You're back as a professional for a second time. What are your goals going forward?
Just as win as many games as I can, really. Obviously, I know it's tough, especially being a low-ranked pro. You always end up drawing one of the top professionals first round. So you've just got to dig deep, really. Practice hard when you can, and and get your chances when they're there. Opportunities don't come around that often to beat these top players. So when they are there, you've got to take them. Practice as much as I can. I've been trying to stick to one game, really. Like black ball, there's world rules out there as well, and 9-ball and Chinese 8-ball. I've just been sticking to black ball, really, because it's hard to adapt. So I'll sort of keep playing this and see how I go.
What are your goals for the future in pool?
I wouldn't say I've set any goals, if I'm honest with you. I'm one of these where I just like to kind of take what comes and go with it. Yeah, I've never really had plans within pool myself. Like I say, it's more just the challenge matches that I enjoy, and I'm quite spontaneous when it comes to stuff like that as well. So I've not really got any goals, Simon, if I'm honest.
Thoughts on your opponent tonight? You're playing a friend. That's always quite tricky.
Yeah, Kyle's a really good player as well. He doesn't play many tours. I know he's won a few big money matches. He's beat people like Matt Lawrenson and Lee Anderson before. So I know I've got my work out with me tonight, and I've got to play well to win. So hopefully I just break really well and get off to a good start, because I think that's the main thing in this format. Get the first set under your belt.
Best of luck tonight.
Yeah, cheers, Anna.
And thoughts on your opponent tonight? Tough playing a friend?
Yeah, very tough. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's hard to get up for it because you're playing a mate, but yeah, me and DJ go back quite a bit now. Met him years ago. We talk quite often on Facebook and that. So yeah, it's going to be a bit different under the circumstances, playing a good mate, but I'll be doing my best to win, that's for sure.
Well, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Well, two good friends and two good players as well. This should be a good matchup, Simon. Potentially a really close one as well.
Yeah, tough match to call. I mean, Kyle's a bit of an unknown, really. We don't see a huge amount of him in tournament play. I think we've seen him once before on Freesports, and he didn't have a particularly good match. But he is well known for his money matches, and he's had some great performances and some great wins. We know a lot more about Dave. He's a fantastic player. He's got himself back into the pro ranks. He's done well in IPA amateur tournaments, and he's starting to do well as a professional as well. So I'd give the edge to Dave, but it's a very tough one to call.
Looking forward to this one. It's live after the break. Welcome back to Free Sports. It's Super Series pool time. That's 16 game between Kyle Brown and David McNamara for you on your Monday evening. We've already seen 3 fantastic games in the Super Series. John McAllister, Gareth Hibbert and Aaron Davies have all ensured their place in the quarterfinals. And we're looking forward to seeing which one of Kyle Brown and David McNamara can make their way into the quarters tonight. Don't forget, if you're new to watching the Super Series here on Free Sports over the last few days, it's pool but not quite as we knew it before. Plenty of measures are in place to ensure social distancing, to keep everyone safe. It's not quite how we've always done things in the world of sport, but I think everyone will agree it's lovely just to be back. So a reminder of the rules of the game. This is a black ball rules, Simon, and what are the main things we should keep an eye on here in this shootout format?
Yeah, most people on Free Sports here will probably be familiar with black ball rules, but I picked out 2 or 3 of the key ones, making sure that a ball hits a cushion after contact, after a foul. Most people at home probably know about the old rules, which is 2 shots carry and all that sort of thing. But this time in black ball rules, you get 1 free shot and then a visit, and combination and skill shots are allowed, and we'll talk about that more as the night goes on. But the key rules we brought in for the shootout is the golden break and the golden duck. If you make a ball off the break, you win the frame. If you foul whilst doing so, you lose the frame. And there you see the match format as well.
We have seen a few golden breaks already. Keep an eye on that. We saw it in the first frame of yesterday's game. That black is going absolutely nowhere on that break. Kyle Brown off to the races at the table. So no black ball down, Simon, but a not terrible spread here for Kyle Brown. He'd be pretty happy coming to the table here.
He'd be absolutely thrilled. These yellows have really opened up nicely for him, and that black does go past the red to the bottom right-hand corner, as that camera angle clearly shows. And this is the ideal opportunity. This is what you want to start a match, to really settle down.
The Mankini man, as he's got on the back of his shirt. One thing we do absolutely have to mention, he's got a bit of a weird quirk, Kyle Brown, in that those eagle-eyed of you will notice that it's not just a lockdown special, but Kyle Brown is playing in socks, but he does that regularly.
Yeah, I don't fully know the reason why, but yeah, it's definitely something that he's done. Whether it's a comfort or there's a reason for it, I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, it's slightly unusual and slightly strange, and there are competitions and different events where it wouldn't be allowed without the special permission, but no problems here.
Yeah, I mean, we're both here in flip-flops, why shouldn't he be?
Absolutely. It's just slightly awkward here. He's too much angle on one and a little bit too straight on the other, so this isn't a guaranteed positional shot by any means. Oh, that's a nice flick. Full ball on that red and he would have been in no man's land. It just feathers off it and now it's simple.
Great start this for Kyle Brown. He does come into this match as the underdog, but also, as you mentioned earlier, Sam, the unknown quantity. We can't necessarily say he comes in as the underdog because we just don't know a huge amount about him.
Well, he showed straight away what he can do.
He looks absolutely bang in form, doesn't he, as David McNamara comes to the table. And let's hear more from Dave as he spoke to Simon earlier.
This is your second event in a shootout format. You got to the semi-finals in your first one up at the grand final in Aberdeen. You played very well that day, and it was only that Simon played great to beat you in the semi. How excited to be back in a shootout?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably are the best events of the year, these shootouts. I love the shot clock. I love the panic stations of it. I think it's the 15 seconds, you know, anything can happen. And that's watching it, so playing in it, you know, it's they only come around once every few months, and obviously with this lockdown going on, it's the only thing I've been looking forward to really, is getting back playing on these tours and stuff, and you know, on televised as well, so I'm really happy.
I'm really happy to be back and really happy to be at the table, no doubt here. It's a slightly more convoluted spread compared to the break that we saw there from Kyle Brown. Red and a yellow down off the break from McNamara, who's now at the table, but he's got a little bit more work. That bottom left corner needs figuring out.
Yeah, very different to the chance that Kyle had in his first visit. This is a tough opening ball as well. It's a good start, but in the bottom left corner, that's going to take some working out. And he may not even take this on. It's not the worst choice of shot, just to float this yellow over the pocket. Yellows would be in control of the frame. And that's exactly what he's tried to do.
Couldn't have played it with fraction more power, otherwise that ball would have dropped.
Probably went a little bit closer than he wanted to. You know, just that yellow above the red, it was no point potting it. He didn't have an angle to develop it. And we saw last night with Aaron, you don't have to clear up in one visit to be able to play great ball. That's a great shot. A skill shot. Black ball rules, you can pot your opponent's ball as well as your own.
Well, the hand came up there from Kyle. I think he's got a little bit lucky here.
Yeah, he's got very, very lucky. He actually missed the pot he was going for, and if he was playing the skill shot, and if the red that he hit with the cue ball after the one he went for doesn't fall in, he's actually giving away a foul and probably giving away the frame. So it's actually hugely fortunate.
He's still in a good position here, Kyle. It's not the greatest of attempts up to the top of the table, but he is in control of the frame to a point here. That yellow is a nightmare really for David to try and get around.
Okay, so he's going to go aggressive. He wants to have an angle on one of the yellows to the bottom right-hand corner, which he's got a choice of both. So it's all about the cue ball, which one's going to give him the best opportunity to either cannon into the yellow at the bottom corner of the table or pot the red. Problem with potting the red is you're not guaranteed to land on the next yellow.
Oh, that's come out nicely for him. And it almost is a bit of a match-up there because he is throwing it to luck in a sense by cannoning into that pair of balls in the corner. Kyle had his, David's had his, we're even.
There is some element of fortune in it, but he played it firm enough that he was trying to make something happen. He was trying to put the odds in his favour of it coming out well, and it certainly did.
He made a ball at the rail, this very rail down into the bottom. This one a touch easier to square things up. And lovely work from David McNamara. It's 1-1 in no time at all. They've only played 6 minutes. Both players are on the board. They'll be pretty happy with that. Let's hear more from the man about to break, Carl Brown.
It's your second taste of Shootout, Paul, with the clock and the short shot clock and everything else that comes with it. How excited to get, well, first of all, to get back to it, but how do you deal with the clock and the pressure of the shot clock?
Yeah, well, last time I played, I'd drawn Jordan Shepherd, so I didn't really get that much table time, to be honest with you. He blitzed me 5-1, I think it was. Luckily I got a frame, so I didn't get the duck next to me. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I really can't wait to get back out there and get playing again.
I think what struck me about both of these players is their enthusiasm just to be back at it was palpable.
Absolutely, I think all pool players up and down the country, they just want to get out there and get playing again, and a great event for everyone involved to get going again. Not the best break this time from Carl, he really mishit that. Very little movement, not much power through the pack.
And the story of David McNamara playing in his back garden is, I mean, that's maybe one of my favourite lockdown stories that I've heard, period. Never mind in the world of pool.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Breaking his mum's cup, that's absolutely brilliant.
And anyone who's ever had the opportunity to be a son to a mum knows never ever break the favourite mug, not the favourite one.
Yeah, you can't do that. But it just gives you a sense of what Deej is like. He's a fantastic player, but he's a fantastic person. He really is a great character to be around at events. He's a lot of fun. I remember being at an event with him. Well, he was at an event at one of the IPA events, and he was in the front row of the crowd. The tour events are played in hotels, and he was in the front row of the crowd, having just been to the spa, sitting in there with his towel and a dressing gown on. And it just sort of sums up everything you need to know about him. He's a bit short. You still see through to the yellow bottom of the table, which helps, but you can see he has to avoid the two reds. It looks like the natural angle is just going to avoid them, but he has to be careful. good visit.
Looks in good touch, David McNamara, doesn't he? Played a couple of pretty tricky pots early on that required really precise positioning, and he's come out flying.
Not as nicely on the black as you'd want to.
But it is going to drop.
Just for a second he thought that was going to stay on the table.
Yeah, a little bit of a heart in the mouth moment for David McNamara. Carl Brown then broken in his second break, and here we take a look at his profile here. Carl Brown, Baron Finesse, big Man United fan. The interesting fact, he doesn't like Christmas. I mean, he's brilliant.
It is. If that's the interesting fact about you, I don't know what that says about you, but yeah, why not? Second player we've seen this week so far with a favourite sports person of MVG.
So Dave McNamara is 2-1 up. First to 5 will do it in these sets, should we get there. If we don't, we'll take the score at half an hour. Even if they are level, we will take that score. Both players would then halve the set, Ryder Cup style.
Potentially brings in the excitement of a sudden death finish. Good split of the balls apart from one ball, which is a problem. Red and yellow towards the bottom left-hand corner pocket is his problem, but he is going to attack them here.
Oh, I tell you what a good shot that is.
Brilliant from Dave. Really opens it up. Now they are sitting there for him again.
Wasn't the easiest pot, let alone to get the skill shot down in the bottom corner, which opens up that pocket.
To me, it shows the confidence he's playing with, rather.
I was just chatting to him earlier as he prepared for this match, and the thing that really stuck with me is he was sort of saying about how he was playing before lockdown came in. He was winning amateur events. In his own words, he was flying. It was the worst possible time for lockdown to come for him because he was playing so well. I just sort of said to him, just try to pick up where you left off then, mate. Do your best. And he seems to be doing exactly that.
That's easier said than done, but I agree with what he was saying in terms of he was certainly in the form of his life in terms of pool. It was his second go at professional pool. And I think stepping away from the game and then coming back has really refreshed him, and he's come back with a sort of renewed energy, and he's played brilliantly since returning.
Big frame this to win as well for either player. This would set himself up for a 2-frame cushion. Nicely done. Dave McNamara flies into a 3-1 lead, looking really good. Here's Deej. He does know his cue.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one that from Kyle, but yeah, no, I think this gives a little sense into David's mindset and some of the things he likes. Big Liverpool fan. Mentioned his cricket interview earlier. He is a big cricket player. Best of 158 and 6 for 10. I don't think that was in the same match, but it shows he can do both sides of the game. Fantastic.
Frame 5, Carl Brown for break. Trading 3 frames to 1. Time running.
He'll no doubt be anxious for the football to return this weekend.
As are you.
Don't help me like that, Simon.
Another dry break for Carl. It hasn't gone. Oh no, sorry, he has made a ball. My bad. In fact, he hasn't. I'm confusing myself.
It is David at the table, that much we do know.
Yeah.
But he's got a chance to go 4-1 up, and it's an unfortunate one for Kyle because he actually got a pretty good spread of the balls. Got into them a bit better than he did in his last break, but David here once again in amongst them, and we've had a difference in practice time across the players that we've seen so far, and David just having a few visits to a pool table. Not a huge amount, but every player will be wanting as much table time as possible in the early going, and this will be a big advantage for David here.
Yeah, there's a difference between being able to have a knock on the table before the match and try and get yourself going, and actually playing in a competitive mode. And I think all the way through this event, the early sets are going to really set the tone for the way the players are going to play. Actually, I think even though so far it's 3-1 to David, we saw enough from Kyle in that first frame with the finish that looks like he's going to be pretty sharp as well. He just hasn't had the opportunities since.
Well, the sound you just heard there was the halfway point of this first set. It means that after this shot we will be going to a 15-second shot clock. The shot clock will halve.
In operation.
Hear from our referee Don Evans there. Kyle at the table as David ran aground. It was a really fiddly finish that for McNamara. The three yellows were so close to each other. Did really well to get away with the first one. Just felt like he was chasing a little bit with that double.
Yeah, once you get out of position, it almost snowballs and you get further out of position, and then further out of position, you just can't quite get it back. And first mistake that he's made in the match. I say it a lot on commentary. If a player's playing well, and we have seen in the early stages here that David is playing very well, when they make a mistake, you really need to step in and punish it. Because if they're playing well and they know they can get away with the odd mistake, it just relaxes them even more, and they can just get onto a really big roll.
Bit of a shot to nothing there for David.
This is a big shot into the middle. This is almost frame ball. If this drops, it's pretty light work.
Was a tough shot. We've been speaking all weekend, I should say, about the table. Absolutely brand new, playing like a dream, and the middle pocket's playing very true as well.
Yeah, lovely table. Really is playing nicely. Had a little go on it myself, and this black ball table, brilliant shot from David. Yeah, this black ball table that we're using at this event is really playing nicely. Down the rails, if you cue them in, they will absolutely fly in, and you can play it with some lovely pace. The centre pockets play very tight but very fair. I think it's a bit of a dream for the players to be playing them.
It's a really good pot. He's got a tricky final yellow.
Hardest part about this shot is landing on the black. Well, he was trying to make the yellow in the centre pocket off the red. Just got the yellow the wrong side of the red. He knew if he'd made the pot into the corner, he couldn't hold on the black, and the white would be in the top half of the table, so went for a spectacular shot.
So a shot and a visit then for Kyle Brown. He's just going to use that to develop the black. Remember the rules that we set out at the beginning of the show. Slightly different to what you might be used to down your local. No shots, no two shots carry or anything like that. One free shot to do whatever you like, and then your visit resumes.
He finished just 2 or 3 inches out of position on his first shot when he was developing the black, which meant he had to travel a lot further with the white with his second shot, and now he's 2 or 3 inches out of position again. He's controlled that well. Thought he'd missed the pot for a second, but yeah, the key to that shot was the cannon, making sure that he was going to stay on this red to the top left corner. He's done that, and now it should be plain sailing.
Keep all safe.
Just for a second, you can see the way he got up off the table, he was worried.
Oh, he didn't cue that particularly nicely, I don't think, Kyle, but it is in. And he's back in the game here. 3-2 to McNamara. We're still very much in the ascendancy, of course, as time starts to tick down. But with the nature of the 15-second shot clock, there's plenty of time to go in this set just yet. This is Kyle's recent tournament history. I mentioned to us earlier, we've not seen a huge amount of him. He doesn't really play too much on the tour, but he has got some good victories to his name in challenge matches and the money matches as well.
Much more well known for those challenge matches, for those money matches. I think that's why you don't see a huge amount on the graphic there. He plays, he's played a couple of events. As David goes in off the break, he's played a couple of events that are a good location from. He's from the northwest, and all those events we saw on that list were in the northwest as well.
He's got some good movement on the black though, as David so far. Play this quickly.
Well, that's come out really well considering he didn't have the time to really play that shot. He may end up in the same position again. He's only got 7 seconds left and he hasn't made his mind up yet. Key to this finish is making sure you leave a very nice angle on your last ball. That black, although it's comfortably, there's a comfortable amount of room on it to land on it to get into the top left-hand corner. If you don't get the right angle, it's so easy not to land nicely on that black and make it tricky. So these 4 yellows are simple. All eyes on the position of his last yellow.
See the shot clock ticking behind him. It's something that he won't be too used to.
I think he'll be looking to try and get the white onto the bottom cushion, and then he's got the whole left-hand side of the table. And he can just come on and off the side cushion and it should have plenty of room. It's all about pace control. He's worked this out nicely.
Got the angle he needs. This is all about the pace, as Simon said. And you just see there, he's lining up his cue. He could even use the red as a bit of a buffer here. That's exactly what he's going to do. It's a really nice shot. And just like that, it's 3 apiece.
It's really nice when you have an object ball to almost aim for. It gives you a target, come off one cushion, target that red, and he's done that really well.
Well, a reminder of where we stand then in the Super Series. It's been a really good competition so far. If you're joining us for the first time tonight, you have missed out, but don't worry, we've got loads still to come. That's the important bit. Aaron Davies, arguably the most impressive performer so far. He looked superb last night in booking his quarter-final berth. Gareth Hibbert got past Chris Day, 3.5 to 1.5. Not really telling the story of that game. That was closer than that. And John McAllister, the world champion, squeezing past Zach Shepherd on the opening night here in the Super Series. He too books himself into the quarterfinals to face the 2016 world champion.
Fortunate to keep the white on the table this time. The break isn't going well for him so far. I did notice that when he did turn up this afternoon and went to the practice table, he spent a bit more time on the break before worrying about any other part of the game. So I think it's something he's definitely identified as something he needs to get right tonight. And so far, it's not going well. Had a break dish in the opening frame, but other than that, he's been dry with every other break since. Oh, that's a poor miss from David. Started this match incredibly well. Just a few more mistakes creeping in now. Possibly because we're in the second half of the set. Just have 15 seconds. Just, you can never really feel fully comfortable with 15 seconds. And even if you've played in it before, and both these players have, it still takes some getting used to again. 6 minutes just over left on the clock. Good opportunity here for Kyle. And this set could really, well, could go down to a deciding frame. There is still time.
Yeah, the one thing that the 15-second shot clock ensures is that there will be more frames played in the second half of the set. It really does hurry them along. There just isn't time, as we can see. He does make that, and I tell you what, it's a really good shot down the rail to make the pot, but you can see the white is now problematic for Kyle. Remember, the shot clock works. All you have to do is hit the white. That will stop the shot clock. Our referee, Donna, is eagle-eyed. So even though you may occasionally hear the Family Fortunes-esque sounds, it doesn't necessarily mean that the player has been caught shy.
The foul still needs to be called by the referee. Donna's on hand to see whether the shot is played in time. Considering how much he's had to rush that shot, he's actually in really good shape once again.
The recovery pot to the middle was brilliant, wasn't it?
It was fantastic. These middle pockets aren't, you know, they are tight, they are tricky, and you know, he played a great shot to get back in position. He needs to go in and out the top end of the table, so this isn't a guaranteed positional shot. It's a bit pacey. He might be okay.
Oh, I think he'll have a double. Whether he can have a cut into the corner, which is what he'd prefer, I don't think he does. This is very tight.
I'm not sure. If he goes for the double, the white might get in the way. It's difficult to tell. No. Oh, I thought for a second that was going to hug that bottom railing. We're going to see a fluke on the black.
Well, David with a chance to steal this one back, having initially made the error to let Kyle in. Kyle has let him off.
He got very close to that double. I'm not sure if it may have been possible just to play that with a little bit more pace and maybe a bit of screw and try and straighten it up off the cushion a fraction more. Difficult to tell without being behind the shot. He may not have quite been able to see enough. This isn't ideal. David, the one thing that's in his favour here is that if he misses this pot, at least he's not going to be leaving an easy black on. He doesn't want to miss it.
He doesn't really have to worry about the white as well, which is a real boon for him. He's going to be able to see these two balls. He can play at either of them depending on which side of the table he landed. It's not easy. Has he got away with it? Shake of the head from David. This is not easy though.
It's not easy, but Kyle will just be happy that he's going to have a go at this double. Oh, he's gone for... Well, actually, he's not even gone for that pot. That's a very clever shot. I thought he was going to come to the table and look for some sort of double, try and make the black somewhere, but he's just played a very good safety shot. Well returned from David.
Yeah, you hear the recognition there from Kyle. That was a really, really clever shot.
Kyle could go close to making this black. It's a black he shouldn't miss. It's a really big target using the side cushion, but
it's also a really big pocket, isn't it?
Fantastic. Very cagey frame, that one. That one could have gone either way, and an important frame. Not long left on the clock now, and Kyle gets himself back in front.
Yeah, the yellow made it a really, really big pocket, and the big man goes very, very close here to being able to take himself one set in front. 1:45-ish remaining here. David has the break. He needs it.
Big moment in this first set. Black's on the move. Black is on the move. Not this time.
So he has 90 seconds, does he? No, he doesn't. He didn't make the ball at the first juncture. So Kyle here just has to play time. Take some easy shots out. He only has to play about 3 or 4. And that will see him home. It's actually a very good first shot.
Been a strange first set from David McNamara. He looked so good in the early half of the set, and then since then, although his mistakes weren't massive, he's missed a couple of pots and a couple of positional errors have got away, but he'll probably feel he should have won this set. And Carl's done very well to get back in, and he looks all but certain of winning it now. Has the time if he wants it and the layout just to be able to run this through. Make sure, get to 5 rather than letting the clock run down.
Yeah, could go game here. Just a decent practice. We have seen some lightning quick finishes. This would be one of the quickest. And it's on for him. 20 seconds for the final 2 balls. This would seal the victory in the opening set. It is pretty much done, and it will be in 8 seconds either way. But can he make it 5-3 as opposed to 4? There's your answer. An exclamation mark at the end of the first set from Kyle Brown. Terrific finish from the big man, and well, that was a bit of a surprise. We saw David McNamara start so well, but Kyle Brown has really recovered. Second set on the way next. Welcome back to Free Sports Live Pool on your screens here tonight, and still to come this evening on Free Sports, the resumption of La Liga continues. Granada travel to Betis. Granada still in the hunt for the European places in La Liga. Big game, that one still to come. That is at 9 o'clock tonight, and tomorrow we are back for the final game of our Super Series segment here on Free Sports before we take a short hiatus towards the end of the month. Mark Farnsworth, the 2019 World Champion, is in action. He takes on Ben Rowland tomorrow at 6.
Second set, David McNamara to break, trading 1 set to 0.
Myself and Simon really looking forward to that one, but before that we've got a really good game on our hands here as Kyle Brown, who could have been considered the underdog coming into this, and we certainly thought so when he was 3-1 down in that first set, has taken the first set by 5 frames to 3 and looked very good in doing so. David McNamara needs a response here, having started the set so well. Strange to see him slip the other way. We'd have thought, if anything, it was going to be a slow start followed by gradual progression, but not quite the way for David, and that is not his best effort.
More signs of his dip. So far we've seen in this event that the players, quite understandably, have come out of lockdown and looked a little bit rusty. Even the guys that have had the opportunity to practice, they've taken a little bit of time to get going. But both these guys have come in. We've had 5 finishes from the break already. They both look sharp, but there's no doubt that David just dipped off in the second half of that set. Take nothing away from Carlo. He earned that opportunity with some of the pool he played.
He's rammed in that red in the top corner. But in doing so, I think he's not quite achieved what he was trying to do with the white ball. I think he was trying to get some movement on the cluster at the bottom of the table. Can still just about squeeze this one along the cushion, I think. Take it off the cushion. Is it going to drop? No.
Probably helps him, that not dropping in. I think if that drops in, he's worse off for it because the red at the bottom of the table doesn't go anywhere. And it's so far away from any of the rest of his work. Actually landing on it was going to be very difficult. For David, it's the yellow at the top of the table that's his problem. I don't think it goes past the red. I think that's, well, this camera angle shows it a little bit. That's pretty well blocked off. So he has that one problem to solve.
Might just need a frame on the board here to settle himself back down.
Yeah, the 3 frames he won in the opening set were after he didn't get to play a shot in the first set of the match with the break and dish from Kyle, but then he made 3 straight finishes and was looking very good. A couple of mistakes, but nothing major, just a couple of loose positional shots and a missed pot or 2, but yeah, settled back down. Knows he's playing well. not exactly what he wanted to do with the position. It's a great pot. He hasn't landed on the yellow as he wanted to. He may feel that he needs to try and manufacture something on it from where he is now. It's an incredibly tough pot in the middle. He can't take it to the corner. Well, he's gone for the double, thinking it was a big pocket with the yellow being over it, just needed to touch the yellow. Missed it by quite a distance. It's another opportunity that's come and gone for David. As we saw quite a few times last night, if a player gets a decent way through their visit when they're trying to clear the table and doesn't manage to do so, more often than not, they just open up the table for their opponent. Kyle comes to the table knowing that these are all there for him. To sneak by the black if he could, and he's come up short. In an ideal world, he'd love to have just gone an extra foot up the table so he could play the red to the top left, then the one along the top cushion. Playing this one means he may even cannon into that red. He may try and avoid it. Well, he has tried to avoid it, but it's not gone well. He played that with a lot of check side, and it's just killed it off the cushion, and he's not landed on the red nicely to the top left. And now he either needs to come up with a double, or he has to try and cut this back and work the white all the way around the table. I suspect the double is the more controllable shot, although you can see the way he's pointing his cue. I think he was going to take the pot on. Step one done. He hasn't got step two.
He's very close to though. Very, very close. About an inch off perfect. Knocked that red out, I think it'd have been okay at the pace he'd played that, but now he has a bit of riddle solving.
I think probably just come off the side cushion, try and catch this red. You are hoping to make it, but worst way, you want to cover the pocket and make it at least difficult for David. David comes to the table with 3 yellows and a black, and he knows he should clear these up, but that red being over the pocket means that he just has to play a better positional shot to get onto the black. David's got that all wrong. Possibly the worst shot he's played so far tonight. Certainly cued that badly. White is a long way from where he wanted it. It's a very tough pot. It's not the easiest white to control either.
It's a really good pot though.
He's chosen to play that dead weight to the hold on the black, and brilliant pot. He could easily have landed a little bit straighter on this black as well. This black's still delicate to the centre pocket.
Yeah, this is missable. Played him really well though. You can see the puff of the cheeks from David McNamara. I think he needed that in quite a few different ways, not just in terms of the scoreboard, but also in terms of his mentality. Just seemed to be struggling a little bit, but it's a big frame to win.
Yeah, that could be really important for David, get back on that front foot. He lost, what, 4 frames on the trot to end the previous set, so needed to get going again. We have a quick look at the stats, and I mentioned the number of finishes from the break we've had so far. There was 5 there in the first set, break and dish each, and a reverse dish for David, and 2 for Kyle. So both players are playing well.
I notice as well the stats have changed once again. I think that we're retiring wet breaker with Simon. Is that you accepting defeat there?
Yeah, no, I think the pool world has spoken. You know, you try these things. Pool world's spoken. They don't like it, so we're gonna go back to potted, and that's okay. I'm okay with potted. It's another poor break from Kyle. He's not hitting the break as cleanly as he would like to, and this is going to be a messy table. This could be a cagey frame with a bit of a tactical battle to start with.
Yeah, he didn't get into those at all. Just watch the packet. Very little movement on it. I'm not surprised to see David take reds here. They are the ones with the most pockets available. I think actually the one on the left-hand side of the table that he's next to now may be the only one that he actually potentially has to develop. But he's going to play safe for now, which is probably the advisable thing to be done.
Yeah, it does look like every other red has a pocket. That's just going to mess things up a little bit. I thought he might choose to be more aggressive, David, in that previous visit. He just didn't quite finish with the angle he wanted. And can't argue against playing the containing shot if you're not feeling comfortable with it. This is not too bad if he can see the potting angle of the red below the black, because he can use the yellow over the pocket to open things up. I think the black's in the way. You see him slow to get up off the table. That's because I don't think he wanted to pot that. He played no position on that shot at all. He was just opening up that red, knowing that he wasn't going to land on anything. That was a case of just trying to play into the yellow and let the red come off the cushion and off the jaw and cover the pocket.
And what he might be doing here, David McNamara, is potting himself into trouble. If it is going to go back to a safety battle, it's always the player with the more balls on the table automatically has the advantage. Right now, that's Carl Brown.
Sort of a half chance. Would have been happy if it had gone in, because he would have fancied the clearance. Only the black, really. The cluster of 3 yellows in the middle. Okay, 1 or 2 of them were tricky, but he could open them up. But the black would have been a double, so probably wanted that to go in, but he knew it was a long shot and he wasn't doing too much damage if he missed. I say he wasn't doing too much damage. That's a great shot from David, and just opened things up a little bit for himself.
And that's aggressive and a really, really good shot as well. Does that red in the middle of the table go up to the top pocket? Is that what he's looking at now?
It might do it. From our overhead camera, it doesn't look like it does to me, but it must be tight. David's had a really good look at it. And he's going to leave it for his last ball, so I think he's decided it goes. Probably leaving the black for a double.
This must go. It's a tough shot. But it was never going to be an easy frame to win as soon as the break came out how it did. Pot's brilliant. Is he on the black? Yes, he is.
It's come just too far for an easy double. He may have to come up with plan B. He wanted the white to stop near the yellow, and you can see it's just gone a little bit too far. He tried to make it going across the face of it, and that was tricky.
You almost see he was trying to force it in with a bit of telekinesis there in the corner. Going off that yellow. Wasn't to be.
It wouldn't have surprised me if he's played it off the yellow, because I think if he had played it to try and make it straight, he would have double kissed the white and it wouldn't have made. So he's had to play it thin to get the white out of the way. So he probably thought that would go in, but go in off the yellow.
He's a little unlucky there. It's David. He played a brilliant pot. Just overrun it by a couple of inches, and it made that black even more difficult than it was already going to be. But this is a great opportunity here for Carl. Should be 1-1 in around about a minute and a half's time.
Only 1 ball on the table that he has to give any real consideration to. He may be considering moving it. He has the perfect angle to move it now. My only thing is, if he moves this and it goes up towards the black and yellow and it goes awkward, then it would be a poor choice. And the reason I'd say that is because he has the perfect yellow to the left centre pocket to land on the one down the rail, and he really should back himself to make it. Doesn't have to do anything with the positional side of the shot. Just drop it in, and he's on the 2 at the bottom. Doesn't want to be hampered over the black, and he isn't. I know this has looked a really simple 4, 5, 6 ball clearance, but I really like the way that Carl's gone about this. He's kept it really simple, controlled the white, knew he was going to make that one down the rail rather than trying to open things up, and he looks very comfortable out there.
Yeah, he certainly does. A player who's not necessarily au fait with playing live on the telly. He's looked right at home. This to square things up in the second set. Nice and easy.
Frame.
So 1-1 in set 2. 2-0 leads would be a big, big lead for Kyle Brown. A reminder for the uninitiated of our rules tonight, slightly different format with the shootout. If you're still a little bit stuck, we'll sort you out.
Yeah, we talked through the rules at the top a little bit earlier on, but I didn't get to talk through the match format. But it is a best of 5 sets, and each set is a race to 5 frames, but it is a 30-minute set. So if the score is tied after 30 minutes, we will take that, or whatever the score is after 30 minutes, we will take that score. So you can win a set 1-0 if you wanted to. It's something that's it adds that extra dynamic to the game, that having the match clock as well. It's not something we see a huge amount in the pool world. It's definitely something for the shootout.
Rogers playing a containing shot there, and
15-second shot clock in operation.
as we've just heard from our referee, 15-second shot clock is now a go.
Once again, the break's not Carl's friend. Okay, he made a ball this time, but he landed really awkwardly. This time it's a bit more unfortunate than the previous breaks, but he wasn't quite catching them as cleanly. But he didn't have much of a shot at all. He's left it open for David.
Just seeing the background there, the circle on the table, that is the tie break spot. Should it be required at the end of the night? If everything is all even, that is where the white ball will be spotted. The black ball will go on its spot. Straight shootout. And it is remarkable the difference. Cued that really well, David McNamara. Got right into that one. And it is amazing what a difference that just a couple of inches makes on that shot. And with the sudden death format, you get no chance to recover.
Hopefully we'll get to see that at some point through this event, because that does really add a lot of drama. Sudden death, 1 shot each. You need to make it to stay in the tournament. That is tough.
Oh, David's gone too far here with the white. Can he cut this? Or can he squeeze it in, maybe in off the yellow? That's what he played. Pretty close. He just went too far at the table with that white ball, and a couple of inches really does make all the difference sometimes. Difference between winning the frame and not. He was well placed to do so.
It's one of the things that is fascinating about Paul. It can look so simple. You finish just a fraction out of position, the next shot you finish a little bit more out of position, and all of a sudden you've got to make a ball off a cushion off your opponent's ball to try and stay in the frame. And
we'll talk about going a couple of inches too far.
He's just about still able to pot this. If he does take the pot on, he's not got too much control of the white.
It's a really good pot from Kyle. The good thing for him is he's a big lad. He's never going to need a rest on a table this size, is he?
He's a very tall lad, and yeah, he was able to stretch over that with ease where other players wouldn't have been able to, and actually managed to play it with a lot more control than I thought he would be able to. Actually, he was annoyed that he didn't pop the red over the pocket. He was trying to make both balls at the same time. But he hasn't given the frame away. He hasn't tried to carry on. He's played the safety. I think David's going to be happy with that. Right at the bottom, still blocking 2 yellows. You feel that if this safety battle carries on, that Kyle should win it because he has the 4 balls on the table to David's 2. Kyle's still got to be careful. He can't afford to leave David a look at either of these reds, because now they are all in the open. Just wonder if he's considering playing the long skill shot. No, he's going to... Well, I think he's going to play the skill shot this time. He could take the yellow into the middle, come down and pop the red over the pocket. He could just pop this into the corner and come down the table and play another skill shot. Well, it's not going to be a skill shot, but it's a fantastic pot on position. Perfect on this ball at the bottom. He can knock this in and land on the other yellow to the centre pocket. That was a brilliantly controlled shot.
Yeah, takes the red out just for good measure. The only thing that guarantees him is a little bit more convenient queuing, but you know, might as well. So good chance here to go 2 and up.
There isn't much room for this black. I don't think he can quite see the full pocket, so this is trickier than it really looks on our screen.
Drills it.
Oh, maybe it wasn't. He's absolutely flown in. Great pot, great clearance, great control, and Kyle's looked very good all the way through this match.
If he was breaking like David McNamara is breaking, he may well be in a much better scenario. He's been superb when he's at the table. Kyle Brown goes 2-1 up, and there's still quite a way to go in this second set. Only just crossed the 10-minute mark remaining. Easily a chance for David McNamara to rattle off a couple of frames to take the set.
Frame 4.
First couple of frames were quite slow by this match's standards.
1 set to 0. Time running.
Let's see if Kyle can work out the breaks. So far, it has not gone well.
Moves the cut break and immediately gets a lot more into them. That's his best break of the match by a million miles.
Yeah, there's more control. He's got power on it, but with the cut break, you don't have to quite hit it with as much power to get the split. And very nice break, and actually managed to get the black moving quite a long way as well. So nearly a bit of excitement with the golden break. He'll be pleased with the split he's been given.
Were he to go 3-1 up here, Kyle Brown, he would be very much in the driving seat. And easily enough time for 3 frames here, potentially more.
He's not going to be happy with that. He hasn't quite landed on the position he wanted to. This white's cannoning into balls. He doesn't really need to move. In fact, he had to play the red off other reds. Thought he was just going to try and cut that back, but it was very thin. You feel this is a big visit for David McNamara. 8 minutes left on the clock. He needs to win this frame, really. Can't afford to lose it. And now that he's had a shot in the frame, he should be either able to gain control or try and make the clearance.
Yeah, big visit this.
I like that shot. That was really nicely played. I think the natural angle was going to take him closer to the yellows, and he's just played that with a trace just to get to the correct side of those yellows to be able to pop them. Back under this finish is tricky. The black's on the cushion. Difficult to tell from our camera angles whether the black is possible to pot into the middle pocket off the red. Oh, he's landed a bit too much angle on this yellow as well. He's played for the yellow into the middle pocket, so...
Let's take a look. I think the black will go in off that red. But the yellow might move it before it gets to that stage. He's played it nicely.
There are times when you see this shot and you think, well, he almost can't miss it. This is not one of those. This is very missable. Great shot. Really good shot, that. And a great clearance.
He liked that as well. So jumped immediately up off it. He's pleased. And he certainly should be. Dave McNamara then making things very interesting as we head towards the final stages of this second set. It's a big, big set, this one as well. 2-0 is a big lead at this stage in a race to 3 for the match.
Absolutely, and you almost could sense that with that visit from David McNamara, almost a bit more purpose, and he almost looked like he wanted to celebrate after making a very good clearance.
1 set to 0. Time running.
Yeah, a bit of a different environment in which to celebrate in. That black was very close to the middle pocket. Got a lot of movement on that. I don't think he's actually managed to make a ball at all.
Be careful when you go around the table.
Both players have got a lot of movement on the black throughout this match with their breaks. Both players have had it flying around the table. I think we're going to see a golden break at some point. Well, Kyle did not want that to happen. He was just playing a safety shot. No thoughts on the double.
It couldn't have come out worse for him. Snook himself. That could really cost him. Did not want that to go in at all. And now David's got a really good chance here.
Not ideal. It's a good safety shot. He's kept things tight for Kyle, but he's not too red safe. He had one bad red on the table, and he's knocked it, so it's now got 2. He would rather the red that he's just played down the table to finish the other side of the yellow. So he's got some more work to do when he comes back to the table.
Well, there's a good chance with how these balls are set here, Simon, that this could well be the final frame of the set. 4 and a bit minutes remaining, even with a 15-second shot clock. Get the sense there might not be a huge amount of time remaining after this one's done. And when it's tied as it is, this could be such a big frame to win and lose.
Absolutely, but they've also, both players are going to have to keep half an eye on the clock as well, because if the frame isn't finished by the time the 4 minutes is up, then it will be half a point each. And if you're in David McNamara's shoes, especially considering reds are in the driving seat in this frame at the moment, you want to make sure that you earn your opportunity to try and take the clearance on within these 4 minutes. Just overran it. White stops to roll shorter. He's got the total snooker. And the reason I say that reds are in the driving seat here, reds have got the bottom left-hand corner of the table sewn up. Well, has he got the angle now to pop the one over the corner and try and screw into that area and open everything up in one shot? He'd have to hit it very firm. He's choosing to play safe. I don't blame him for that.
Don't think Kyle there played remotely the shot he was trying to play. And almost cost him. He has moved another of his own yellow safe though.
Yeah, he was trying to play the yellow into the red and almost take the bottom pocket away from David.
Got another chance here to play a similar shot.
He's got it wrong once again. This time David doesn't have the angle to play the pop the one over the pocket and screw into them, but he may just develop one of the balls. He could play a plant and try and open things up. He doesn't want this to go in.
Tell you what, under the shot clock pressure, he's actually played a really good shot there.
Do you think if you're in Kyle's shoes here,
well, Socks.
Sorry, Carl Socks here. Are you happy with the half a point, knowing that you've already got that set on the board? I think probably you are.
I think you're certainly happier.
Happier, yeah, definitely.
But David now has the chance to push the boat out, to really go for this. He doesn't have to rush. 2 minutes is a long, long time left. He can take each 15 seconds for each of these balls, and he'll know he will not leave much of a chance for Carl Brown to respond.
This all comes down to the double on the red. If David makes the double on the red, he will win the frame. Problem he has, actually, just thinking about the match or the set clock, is if he misses the double on the red, there's plenty of time left for Kyle to make the clearance. So this is a very big shot.
Yeah, this is the second set. It's all come down to this. Doesn't go, or does it? No. No, it doesn't.
And the black still goes, so now Kyle knows this is his opportunity to get a 2-0 lead. He's got to play one cannon and open up those yellows, and it's a race against the clock.
Yeah, keep your eye on the clock, ladies and gents. Where's that white ball? Oh, no. Well, well, well. Is David McNamara about to get a late reprieve? There's some serious drama here at the end of this second set. 45 seconds remaining. He's got 4 balls to pot. The black now out in the open. This is now David's to lose. Incredible drama at the end of this second set.
He's taking his time, and he has got enough time, but 30 seconds, he just needs to keep half an eye on that match clock. He's okay. He can just drop this in, and only has to come back 2 or 3 inches to be dead straight on the black into the centre pocket.
Well, with the last shot of the frame, of the set, David McNamara has the chance to square things up. And it's there against the clock. What a finish to the second set. Wowee. Well, that is Shootout pool in a nutshell. More of that to come, ladies and gents. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Free Sports Live. Paul on your screens on this Monday evening, and we've just seen an encapsulation of exactly what makes Shootout pool so brilliant, Simon.
Yeah, that was absolutely brilliant. The match clock, the shot clock, both players had chances, and it really came down to one shot, and you have to say it was very unlucky for Kyle. If that white stays on the table, you feel that Kyle wins the set. The fact it goes in, it gave David the opportunity for a chance to win the frame, and he made no mistake. Brilliant end to the set.
In fact, we only had 60 seconds on the clock, and we had 3 different opportunities across both players to win the set. It really was a fantastic finish. And in terms of the match here, David McNamara will be delighted to be level. This has still got some way to go, I think. It's Kyle to break. He has struggled a little bit with his break so far through the opening couple of sets, but the only thing that's really let him down, actually. But he's having a bit more success as he had towards the back end of that set with the cut break, and that is a lot more like it. But Kyle has got a little bit of work to do here. It's not the easiest lie.
Appears to be a very good change. Wasn't working going one way, so change and go for your secondary break, which for Kyle's the cut break, and so far, so good. Little shorter pace for Kyle. Trickier pot and trickier control of the white. He needs a good angle to be able to go up the table on the next shot, so this isn't ideal.
Oh, that's a really lovely shot.
Nice use of the red, just to be able to control things. Although he's on this red, he's left it very tricky. But the good thing is that the angle's there for him now, that he can make this red and he can drift up the table, and he should have a choice between. Well, it looks like he's going to play a cannon on the way up the table. I thought he could just drift up the table and play onto either the one in the middle or the one into the top left corner. he's played for the gap and he's hit the gap. That's brilliant. That's one of the best shots he's played in the match. Fantastic.
Well, the last couple of shots back to back, a real measure of the man there. Two really high tariff shots from Kyle Brown here, and he's set himself up for a really tough finish here. Now all of a sudden it's got a whole lot easier.
Choosing to take the one to the corner because it just helped with the control. If he takes the one to the middle, he's not guaranteed to cannon into that red and black for it to go well. So took the harder pot, but gets the rewards. Slightly awkward queuing. The only awkwardness of this shot, though, should be routine. Other than that, he can't make up his mind, and the shot clock might get to him.
Just about had enough time to deal with that. 15-second shot clock would have made that quite interesting.
Would like to be an inch or two to the left so that he could make it easier to get on the black, but I think this is okay. Not even had the angle he needed, that was fine. So no drama at all. Last couple of balls.
Well, this has been probably the finish of the night so far. That was a really tricky finish for Kyle Brown to navigate. He's done that brilliantly. Really, really impressive clearance from the Mankini man.
He starts the set once again with a breaking dish. 4 finishes from the break for Kyle. He has looked very good, and you could say he's a bit unlucky that he's not either 2 sets to the good. He had a great opportunity in set number 2, and just that in off. The foul is probably the biggest stat on there for him. The one foul for Kyle is probably the reason he's not 2-0 ahead.
Yeah, totally is.
Second frame, David McNamara to break.
Could be a
One
huge
frame
moment
to
in
nil,
this match.
One settle. Time running.
Were David to go on and win it. I'd look back at that. At the moment it may be all changed for him, but again, frustration for David McNamara. He can't quite believe it. Getting a really good connection on these breaks, but all too often they're coming up dry for him. And sometimes as a player, you just got to take your medicine when it's happening. There's no real exact science to it. Sometimes it goes, sometimes it doesn't.
There's a lot of skill in the break. There's a lot talked about with the break. There's a lot talked about saying, oh, it's just a lucky shot and everything else. But you have to put a lot of skill in to get the luck to be able to make a ball. All you can do is hit them as well as you can do them, and believe that if you keep doing that, then eventually everything will work out in your favour. Just the last couple of breaks have gone against David.
The way Kyle played that last frame, I fully expected him to make that one down the rail. And he's disappointed in himself that he hasn't.
He is disappointed, but if he's missed, if you are going to miss in a frame, it's best to miss early, because you've got all your balls still on the table. There's plenty of traffic there for David, and also the yellow stayed over the pocket. It's much worse to get 4, 5, 6 balls through your visit and then miss. That's one of the reasons why we talk about wanting to take your hardest ball first. For Kyle in this situation, it was the one down the rail. Until David works out how he wants to deal with the 2 reds nearest the bottom left-hand corner of the table, this doesn't feel like a very good opportunity to clear up. Needs a bit of luck here. He's not had it.
A big sigh from David there that we heard on our microphones. This is not easy. I think he could play cushion first to play the ball on the bottom rail if he wanted to try and continue the break. I think he got to, I was going to say try and play safe, but I think he's actually played a bit of a hit and hope, and it's gone against him as the yellow's gone into the top right. Kyle's back at the table. And he's got a bit of time to think about his first shot here. Shot and a visit. He wants to free this table up, so these 5 yellows become academic.
Those are the sorts of things that are frustrating for a player. David comes to the table knowing that Kyle's just made a mistake before him. You know, he's broken dry, and he's left Kyle this opportunity that he would have expected Kyle to get. He's made the mistake not making the ball down the rail, and he comes to the table and he can't take advantage of it and hands it back to Kyle, and those are the ones that can really frustrate you. Although Kyle is not happy with his free shot, although he is still in the driving seat in this frame, even if he doesn't clear up at this visit.
Not particularly pleased, Kyle, but it's still by no means a chance, this, for David. Is he thinking about a skill shot as the corner? He's right behind it.
I think the yellow is just to the side of the pocket from the angle he's coming at. I think that makes it very, very difficult. He was trying it, but that was as tough as they come, really, for that type of shot. Key for those shots is trying to hit your ball onto your opponent's ball as square as possible, so that it follows on exactly the same line. And if the yellow's in the side of the pocket, it makes that a lot harder to do.
So again, a shot and a visit for Kyle with which to work, and this really should be pretty elementary.
No work to do, just got to make sure. He'll be slightly annoyed that he's had to go up the table to take this yellow and then come back down the table. In an ideal world, the yellow he's about to play to the top left corner, he wanted that to be his last ball. Although the fact that he has come up the table, you see the shake of the head there, he's finished the wrong side of it, and he's finished the wrong side of it by quite a few inches, because now he has to come top cushion, side cushion, and try and get the white almost in between the two yellows at the bottom of the table. He's got to avoid this red. This is much harder than it needed to be. But that's fantastic. Perfect position once again.
That really was not easy, and I mean, he was annoyed at himself, the fact that he had to play such a difficult shot, but he's made that look really simple. But that was really quite good from Kyle Brown. He's looked right at home here tonight. Mentioned at the top of the show, a bit of an unknown quantity, but he really has settled in here against a high quality and high caliber opponent. Kyle Brown, you can quite easily argue, has been the better player over the first 2.5 sets here. And he goes 2-0 up in the thirds.
I've been very impressed with Kyle Brown so far. Settled in very nicely in the first frame of the night with that break condition. Ever since, he's looked very comfortable. Of course, he's made a mistake or two, but that's natural in this form of pool, in all forms of pool.
This is our schedule. We've already had 3 brilliant games. We've still got one to come tomorrow. Mark Farnsworth, the 2019 World Champion, is in action from 6 o'clock tomorrow night. He goes against Ben Rowland. We have 3 more games for you to come on the 30th of June, the 1st of July and the 2nd. The order is still yet to be confirmed, but we will see Gav Robinson against Alex O'Donoghue, Simon Fitzsimmons against Sean Storey, and Jordan Shepherd in action against Mason Penny. That's at the end of the month, the 30th, the 1st and the 2nd. The order of the games still yet to be decided. That is that was a triumvirate of fixtures. It's pretty mouth-watering as it goes. So
there's some big players still to get going in this event. There's just so much drama potentially to come, and really looking forward to seeing how all the players are going to be playing, and whether they've practiced, what sort of form are they going to be in. And of course, any time you've got Jordan Shepherd coming up, then it really is mouth-watering.
Kyle once again at the table then. He has been for much of this third set so far.
It's a good effort. That's a nice sign of his confidence, though, the fact that he's played for that double. He put the white exactly where he wanted to. He's really feeling confident out there. Could easily have gone a different way, tried to find an angle, tried to develop it, but because of where it was and the ball's around it, no guarantee, even if you cannon into it, to develop it, so backed himself to make that double.
Speaking of which, David McNamara backs himself to make a double of his own. That's really nicely played. Deals with his big problem ball. The two yellows at the bottom of the table that are just angling towards the right side. Bit of an issue for him. He tried to play on it there by pinching the pocket, and in pinching, has missed the shot.
All his attention was on that gap. And he's got the gap lovely, but he's missed the pot. Because Kyle played the double on the previous shot, that was his only bad ball on the table. Now all these reds are wide open, and a bit like the previous visit, just needs to hold himself together because all these are there. I guess the red that's almost on in the triangle area, the one that's almost on the black spot there, that doesn't have an obvious pocket. If it goes in the left centre pocket, and just having a look at that camera angle there, and
I think it squeaks in.
It does squeak in, I think. Yeah, so he's just got to hit this gap. It doesn't have to move the white far at all. Looks to be nice.
This is threading the needle. If he makes this, the whole frame opens up for him. It should be 3-0. He's just having another look. Shows to us that it's tight.
Yeah, I think he's looking at this one. I'm not sure he's convinced this one goes in the middle either. He can just get past the yellow, but there's also the one in the middle of the table that he's trying to work out which pocket he wants for as well.
Missed it.
Yeah, it wasn't a surprise to see him miss it on that side. Wasn't sure he could quite see enough of the potting angle of the ball.
Reprieve potentially for David McNamara here after a sloppy error. His yellows still are in excellent position, and in fact they're in an even better position because Kyle's cleared out the bottom right of the table. This should be first frame of the third set here for David.
He's come up short again. Plenty of margin for error to overhit that, and he's underhit it by a good few inches. So it's a reroute up the table, come back down. You can see what I mean. I've talked about this a few times tonight. If you finish out of position and he was a few inches out on the first shot, all of a sudden he's now a few inches out on the second shot, and things are getting harder. If he doesn't get the position right on the next shot, he may not make the finish.
Cued that well. Cued that really well. 15-second shot clock is now in operation. I don't think he'll need all of it to line up this black. Should be pretty straightforward. It is. Big frame that for David McNamara to win. It's 2-1 in the third set. I have a feeling this could be one that goes pretty late tonight.
It has that feeling, doesn't it?
Kyle Brown, the Mancini man, or the Mancini man maybe, who knows? Maybe a closet Roberto Mancini follower, who knows? But,
I suspect there's a story there that we don't know, but it'd be interesting to
the story there that I don't particularly want to
possibly
know.
Yeah. Yeah, he says his biggest achievement in the sport is beating Lee Anderson in a money game, and I think that's a sign that he's a player that plays a lot more money games than tournaments. He's mentioned that in his interview.
And it's still not quite going to go for David McNamara. His breaks have been so strange because he's been spreading the balls really well. Chance to come back to the table, and looking at the way these reds are set, he has got a little bit of work to do at the top of the table. This is a decent chance to tie things up in set number 3. This is the sort of game that really wouldn't surprise you if we go to the bottom of the 5th and we're not sure who's going to take it.
It has that feel, but I'm just watching David around the table at the moment, and it's a very similar feel. The way he's almost bouncing around the table a little bit more. It's almost like he knows this is a big moment in this match. He did it in set number 2. He made a clearance when he was behind that he just, he almost, it looked like he just gave it that little bit more. Almost though he can sense the importance.
Played these reds really, really nicely. Just wants to mind his position on the black. Doesn't want to be hampered. I think he's just about okay. He is. To tie things up, it's 2-2.
Impressive visit from David. Really got the bit between his teeth on that one. Made a great clearance, and yeah, he's back in the set.
Quite a good game, this, isn't it? Really good game. And from Runcorn, big Liverpool fan. And is the English Amateur Champion as of last year. He is coming back to the potential that we saw his first run of the game when he won the Junior Championships in 2017. We've heard from Simon, took some time away. Having another go. And seems to be better for it. It was terrific before the lockdown. And the last frame was a bit of an exhibition as to why. That is McNamara at his best. Once again, a lot of movement on that black ball from Kyle Brown, but maybe just a sign of the momentum. It's amazing how often the break does tend to show a bit of momentum. David's already back at the table, and I think you're right, Simon. The way that his energy just seems to be changing. He looks a bit more agitated, a bit more energetic. He can't wait to be at these.
It seems strange to say it because it almost sounds like we're saying he wasn't trying before, which isn't the case at all. It's just you can almost sense just that he's sensing the extra importance of these visits.
Sorry? Sure, just give it time. Time out, please. Sorry, I just didn't want to. Time running.
Carl Brown left his chalk on the table. David just didn't want it to be in his focus. The referee agreed to stop the clock. I think the red on the left-hand side does sneak past the 2 yellows, which means he doesn't have to play any cannons. This is just about working the white around the table.
There really is an extra zip in his play. It's very, very obvious. He is feeling this. And he's trying to take this 3rd set away from Kyle Brown. We're into the final 10 minutes. And David McNamara has rattled off this 5th frame here. No time at all. Great clearance.
For me, it's a sign that David understands, and you see this happen. He knows that Kyle's playing well. He's only going to win this match if he steps up and he finds a gear, and he's really trying to find it out there.
A reminder that the winner of this match between Kyle and David goes into the quarterfinals, where they will face either of tomorrow's fixture on Freesports, Ben Rowland or Mark Farnsworth. Good game in prospect there. And based on the evidence of tonight's match, a good quarterfinal in the offing as well, either way.
Mark Farnsworth, last year's world champion, the greats of the game, was #1 for a long time, very dominant for a long time. Looking forward to seeing how he goes in this format.
And now David's break is starting to bear fruit. Momentum, all with the man from Runcorn.
touch fortunate, and you see just holds his hand up to acknowledge that. Probably overhit that shot, didn't need to move the yellow as far as he did off the cushion. I was just thinking it's always nice when you break well and you've got one bad ball on the table, and your first shot you've got the perfect angle just to cannon in and knock it out.
He's flying round. Even the things that he's not doing right are coming off for him. Everything going the way of David McNamara at the moment. And the frustrating thing with Carl Brown is he can't do anything about it. He's not really made too many mistakes here. This is the life of a pool player. Sometimes you just have to take your medicine.
May look to cannon the black on this shot. He has, and he's just got too much onto it. He wanted to cannon the black full in the face. Stay on the yellow, just develop that black, just make it a little bit easier.
10 seconds. Gonna go cushion first. As he flukes it. Wow, oh, he so nearly had a wry smile on the face of David McNamara. Heart skipped a beat there for a moment.
Yeah, just he wasn't far away, just a semi-loose positional shots cost him that visit. Could mean there's another twist in this set, because he certainly had momentum.
Total snooker, time running.
Lost the opening 2 frames in the set.
Well, this is a gamble. That's why. But
Total snooker, time running.
he has got a very difficult black ball hit.
It's only one cushion hit, so he should get this black in motion. Wouldn't surprise me to see it fly in.
Oh, what a couple of shots, David McNamara.
That's absolutely fantastic. The first shot was good, but he knew playing the first shot that he was going to leave himself snookered on the black. But we've talked about how tight these middle pockets are, and David's made it off a cushion. Absolutely brilliant shot from David McNamara, and he is absolutely flying out there.
2 of the best shots we'll see tonight, back to back, to in a crucial frame when it looked like Carl Brown might have been sneaking back into it. David McNamara is flying at the moment. This is brilliant. Meant every single inch of this.
The thing I like about this shot is the fact that the pace he's played at, and I like the celebration as well. He's played it at a pace that he was trying to make it in that middle pocket. He wasn't just trying to hit it off one cushion, get the black flying around the table and hope to fluke it. That was absolutely as played.
Yeah, Carl Brown now needs a big break, and he has got the yellow in the pocket, and he's got a couple of yellows down actually. He has got over 5 minutes to work here. He needs a minimum of 2 frames to have a chance of halving the set. Certainly not over here. Certainly not over. Break and dish from Kyle would again take us into hairy territory towards the end of the set, just like we had in the second. But we've seen some great action tonight. Really, really good game this.
He's playing well enough to get back into this set. He's played well all night. He's made very few mistakes. It's not like he's been gifting these opportunities to Dave McNamara. After a good start from David, he did sort of almost slip down a little bit, but he's come back up and he's come back strong. And he's really earned these opportunities, and he's flying at the moment. It's one of the first mistakes we have seen from Kyle.
And look at David McNamara flying out of his stall. He can't wait to be back in amongst it. This is a chance here to take this set. If he wins this frame, 5-2 total, set over.
He may look to just screw into the red and yellow. If the yellow goes, he may choose not to. That's the problem with going into it. You could just leave yourself hampered on your next shot, but I think the yellow's gone far enough up the table that it's not too bad. Just has to concentrate on the pot. He may take this to the corner. He's just overhit the shot. He wanted to be straight into the middle. If he takes it to the corner and makes it, it means he's straight on the yellow to the opposite corner.
A little bit of a wobble, but he's okay. 2 pretty similar shots here to seal the 3rd set. heart of the bags, but he will not care
as long as
they
go in.
That. Third set belongs to David McNamara, and a brilliant set from him as well. Really turned it on, and he takes a 2-1 lead heading into the fourth. Don't go anywhere, this is a cracker. We'll be back in a second. Very warm welcome back. It's been a fantastic night of action so far on Free Sports in the Super Series. Stephen Jameson and Simon Webb once again back with you for another amazing night of pool. Carl Brown is in with a shout here. Of course, a bit of an upset against Dave McNamara, but if the man from Runcorn continues the way he played in that third set, he's going to be right up against it, Simon. He played some brilliant stuff there.
From 2-0 down in that set, David's just found a gear. Best pool he's played in the match. Sort of took it away from Carl. There was one mistake from Carl in at 4-2 down, but other than that, it was more what David was doing on his side of the table, and it was very impressive. You could almost, well, we talked about it, he found an extra gear, he found that extra bounce, and almost a bit more determination. He knew it wasn't going to be given to him, he knew his opponent was playing well. Beauty of that set play though, things can turn around.
Yeah, it's the one thing that makes this competition really unique. It's the mixture of the set play with the shootout rules.
This one's going to take a little bit of working out. This isn't nice. Still take on the plant, but he's got the yellow above, well, just where he's going to place his hand. That's a real problem. Well, he tried to do it all in one shot. He tried to make the plant, screw back, flick the red and yellow out, but you're asking a lot there. This was going to be very tough. He's actually had a nice little result there. The yellow's come across the table, blocked the right hand corner pocket, just adding to David McNamara's problems with his colour set.
He's not really been feeling such human things as problems in the last sort of half an hour or so. McNamara, he's played fantastically well. Made the difficult look easy. He's going to have to here again. Don't think he wanted to pot that, and if that's the case, he'll be pretty happy with how that's turned out.
He may have done, I don't know, I think he probably didn't, but he hasn't looked to try and develop his one bad ball on the table or try and create an angle to do so. So I think it's one of those that if it dropped in, he would have been okay. If it didn't drop in, he's probably not too disappointed. There are times when you are happy to let your opponent go for a finish. You almost, if you clear up from here, Carl, then good luck to you. That's the sort of attitude that David's probably got.
Almost like a rather you than me, mate, sort of idea.
Yeah, and as we've seen so often in pool, if the player that goes for the finish, if they don't make it, you make the game easy for your opponent.
To come out on this, he's got the cannon so well, and he's been unfortunate. You are always throwing in a little bit to luck when you hit a shot like that. Played it perfectly in the sense of getting his angles right, but it's not come out nice for him. And this is where McNamara's decision to allow him to go for it is going to come out pretty well for him, I think, here, barring a, well, miraculous shot.
Anytime you need to play, as he gets the balls flying around the table, but anytime you need to play a cannon and you need to land on the ball you're cannoning, you are asking for a little bit of fortune. He played it, for me, just a touch too firm, but that's easy to say in hindsight with the yellow flying up the table, but if the pace was a little bit less, then he would have had more chance to be on it. But it is fine margins out there.
It's quite a clever shot that from David, because in knocking the red over the pocket down, it frees up the red at that end of the table, just to make it a little bit easier, not having to rely on a plan.
Doesn't want to be on the cushion. It's not ideal. The reds are close enough to the corner pockets at the bottom end of the table, it shouldn't cause a problem, but he'd rather have been a few inches off the cushion just to be able to avoid the black and come down the table. Had to jack the cue up just to create the angle, but he's okay. It looks like the David McNamara from set number 3 here in the 4th. Certainly has the momentum. 5 frames on the trot to end that that last set.
At the minute, everything David McNamara touches is turning to gold. And Carl Brown has to find a way to arrest this slide. McNamara looking absolutely brilliant at the moment, carrying on that momentum from set number 3. Just see the way the stats have changed, that just total balls potted, he was a good 15-20 down and now a good 30 up. His form has been remarkable.
That stat is a sign that he's now getting the table time and he's taking his finishes and just not giving Carl the opportunity to make any finishes of his own. But the big stat on there remains that 1 foul for Carl Brown. He was so close to going 2 sets to 0 ahead, and that foul cost him, and that's allowed Dave McNamara back in this match. But he's certainly grabbed that opportunity and run with it.
2 sets to 1. Time running.
Yeah, mentioned at the time that could easily turn out to be a bit of a turning point. As Carl Brown, interestingly, goes back to something of a straight break. He got a lot of movement on the cue ball, nearly screwed it in, but has come up dry, and it's been a theme that I've repeated, I feel like, every night on the show so far this weekend. But so often for a player in this sport, when it rains, it really does pour, and it's so difficult to arrest that momentum. And sometimes it can be really basic. There's not anything that you're necessarily doing wrong, but all of a sudden it just feels like everything's going against you. Your opponent's playing really well. You're finding yourself in difficult positions. The luck's going the other way, not quite getting the rub of the green. Your opponent's attempting balls up the rail from miles away, and all of a sudden it's difficult.
It's one of the things that impresses me so much about the very, very top players, the ability to sit there, because I think there is so much momentum in top level, Paul. The ability to sit there and take the punishment from your opponent, who could clear 4 or 5 frames on the trot without you having very much of a go, and then when you get that opportunity, it feels awkward, it feels messy, you've got a problem, you've got to solve it. If you don't, you're probably going to go on and lose the match. And the top players are able to make those clearances and almost turn matches around because of it, and that's what Carl needs to do right now. No rush here for David McNamara to open things up. He has control of the top left-hand corner.
But for how much longer?
Well, he hangs his head a little bit because he's left this red on. Now, if David can reach, and it's going to be a bit of a stretch for him, if he can reach this potting angle, then he could probably develop the ball he's hanging over the top of at the same time, and then all the reds are in the open. If he can't reach, he may not play it. And he is really struggling.
I'll tell you what, that's come out so nicely for him.
Yeah, he's played that well. The hard part of that was actually just getting to the shot. Once he did that, played it well, and now the table's at his mercy. Red just below the left-hand middle is slightly tricky. Doesn't have a good pocket. And the red below the black, landing on it is the tricky part. There is room.
Navigated that really nicely.
The one thing with that shot there, and you can quite tell from the overhead, is that he would have been really stretching with his legs, because he's got to make sure he keeps a foot on the floor. And it would have been very much just the very tip of his shoes touching the floor on that shot to be able to reach.
Yeah, can't just take a perch on the table and make things easy.
Don't think David's landed. I think he's just got the black in the way. He was very much playing on the red on the bottom right hand side. He's not landed on the next pot in the red in the middle either, so this could be end of visit without a big shot. Oh, brilliant. Only just managed to be able to get through to that red and manages to put out the double. He's not out of the woods yet though. He's not nicely on the next ball. He still has to land on the awkward ball below the black. Oh, it's just great shot after great shot. Nice cannon. Oh, brilliant stuff from David McNamara. Things are really going his way. He's playing some great pull. Lovely nudge. Oh, he's underhit it. He just quit on the shot. Almost careless.
Oh, he's fuming with himself.
He knows it.
That's such an easy mistake.
It's a bad error because he knows that that was one that he's almost given himself the frame. You could see it's the frustrations there because he knows that was a careless one. And we've been talking about the way he was able to turn this around was almost that extra focus, that belief that this is all of a sudden.
He's looking at the double and he's actually fouled as well. Oh, he's furious. That's so careless and so unlike what we've seen.
It's just a complete turnaround. It's not how he got back in this match, and it's what can turn the momentum round. It really can. It's just completely quit on it. I know he is worried about over-screwing it and going behind that yellow, but he knows it was one he just completely quit on.
When you say quit on, Simon, can you break that down for maybe the uninitiated when it comes to playing a screw shot like that?
He's decelerating as he's hit the white. You need to be in almost all sports. You need to have that acceleration. And if you decelerate on the shot, you don't quite get the contact you want. The white goes nowhere, and you're in trouble. I like that choice of shot from Carl at the top of the table. I thought he had the choice. He could just nudge the yellow over the pocket and leave it over the top left for him to be able to land on the black. And the reason I say that is because it would mean he could have a bit more freedom at the bottom end of the table, knowing he's not leaving the black on, but he knows that he doesn't need to do that because this is an open enough table that he should clear these up. So nudge the black over the pocket and pick yourself to make the clearance.
This is a big frame for Carl Brown to win here, and make no mistake, he should win it from this position. Just to arrest the slide. It feels like David McNamara has been like a runaway train in the last half an hour or so. A little bit short here. Needs to be a couple of inches further up the table.
Yeah, I think that was 6 frames on the trot for David, and really should have been 7, so it really has been one-way traffic for a little while.
Just wants another look at it. Still got a few seconds with which to play. Doesn't want to be on the cushion. Just makes it a little awkward.
He has a choice. He can play this dead weight and let the white just drift up the table, and he'll be playing the yellow from somewhere near the bulk line, or he can play it with more pace and go in and out of bulk. He's gone for in and out. It's a yellow that he shouldn't miss. He knows he shouldn't miss. He doesn't have anything to do with the black, but it's one of those that you've put yourself under pressure, and it's one that if you are going to sort of twitch one, this could be one of those, but not this time. Great cueing from Kyle.
Yeah, nailed that, didn't he? Right in the heart of the pocket, no questions asked. And 1-1 is in the offing here in the 4th set. A set, of course, that Kyle has to win. David is 1 from home. Well, this is the shot again that turns the frame. David could have been going 2-0 up in a set that he just needs to win to take the match. And all that it required was a simple screw shot. Coming up on Free Sports tonight, the La Liga is back. We're absolutely loving it. Real Betis host Granada, who are still in with a very good shout at making the European places in Spain this year. Big game in La Liga tonight. That follows us here from the West Midlands.
David McNamara to break. 1 frame all. David McNamara.
Great to have the sport back, isn't it? Really, really is.
Feels like we've been starved of it for a while. It is absolutely fantastic to see the sporting world start to get going. Oh, that black was close.
The white was close. Nearly our first golden duck.
We nearly did, yeah, the golden duck. For those of you that are unaware with the term, that is making the black off the break and fouling. So if the white had gone in as well, and then you lose the frame. We've seen 3 golden breaks so far, yet to see a golden duck.
And that 15-minute timer sound, so we're back down to the 15-second shot clock, and it seemed to almost trigger David McNamara in the last set. When it went to 15, it seemed to really suit the energy with which he was playing. He was flying around the table, potting everything that moved, and he just needs to retain what he's been doing. He made a really careless error, but apart from that, in the last half an hour, he's been almost faultless. That's what he'll be telling himself.
For me, because of that careless error, it makes this visit huge. It really does. If he can make this clearance, it would be a break and dish, then that careless error will be forgotten. If he makes another error to back it up, then all of a sudden you start to think negatively. Well, he's worked this visit into 4 straight pots.
Shootout format has been such a success, and players are loving playing in it. We're loving watching it. We hope you are at home too. It couldn't be an easier finish here with David McNamara, who seems to be loving the shootout format at the moment. A reminder of our previous shootout champions. A few names here that we will see coming up in this Super Series. Jordan Shepherd and Simon Fitzsimmons have been regular finalists. In fact, I think there's only one final that Jordan Shepherd hasn't been in. He's been that consistent within this format. And both of those players coming up at the end of the month when we return to the Super Series on the 30th of June, the 1st and the 2nd of July.
2 1 frames and 2 1 sets.
Also worth pointing out that the only other man other than Jordan and Simon to win a title in the shootout format is Liam Dunster. And
where's that white ball?
Just as he goes in off, just to finish off on that, is Liam wasn't eligible to play in this event as he's based in Scotland, and this event was invited, the players were invited from England based as per the lockdown rules.
Just want to touch upon that break a little bit there. So we always sort of are sometimes guilty of over-analysing the break, but I think there's a bit there that I want to pick up on. We noticed a few times tonight when Kyle's been breaking the spin that he's getting on the ball after the break is a sign that he's not quite hitting it right.
You don't want to be playing the break with spin. You want to be playing it as plain ball as possible, ideally. Some players like to play with the screw shot for the white to come straight back up and down the table, but you don't want anything on the, you don't want any side on the ball. You know, the backspin's not too bad, but the minute you get side on the ball, you're just losing power through the pack. The thing for me with the break and Carl is the fact that he struggled with the break to start with, and that was okay. You know, he's obviously got his favourite break, but he moved away from that because it wasn't working. He found a break that was working. He made 3 or 4 on the trot. Then he missed one with the cut break, and he moved away from it. It wasn't like he hit a bad break. It's just he had an unfortunate one that came up dry. I think he should have given that cut break just a few more opportunities.
Yeah, and it was a strange start to this frame as well, because I think David McNamara found himself a little bit clock pressured and rather rushed a shot that wasn't really on. And in response, Carl Brown has got a few reds down. I don't think with the margin with which he missed that he was playing to pot it, but it seems like a bit of a strange decision if that was the case. Doing him a bit of a service actually there.
Yeah, I think Both players are really starting to feel the heat out in the arena. This is really is crunch time. It's harder to play well when your opponent starts to play well, and I think that's what we've seen here, that David's found a gear and Kyle's just dropped off his level just a fraction. And when David has made the odd mistake, Kyle's not been able to capitalise on it, and that's been forced by the way that David's played.
Yeah, it's a mark of the top players. We touched on a little bit before about how you can sit there, take your medicine for however long you want, and then come back and play just your game. It is, in a sense, an individual sport. What your opponent is doing shouldn't actually, you know, in any way affect you, but that's obviously just not how sport works. And the way that David's played is almost like, it's almost as if he's forced his will onto this game. Another frame ticked off.
Yeah, it's the mental side of the game. It really is. It's like a shot at 0-0 is easier than a shot if you're 4 or 5-0 down. It's the pressure that gets put on you makes what would be simpler in different situations harder, and I think everyone that plays sport wishes it wasn't that way, but that's the way it is.
Yeah, you just see the scoreboard on the screen there. That is how close we are. It's been a brilliant game, but he's just starting to get a little close there, David McNamara. 2 frames from home and a place in the quarterfinals. What does Carl Brown have to do here, Simon, to get himself back into this match?
He needs an opportunity and he needs to take it. We've seen it in pools so often that when you get an opportunity and you take it, all of a sudden you get another one. You're then reversing the pressure that we've just talked about, and the pressure goes onto your opponent. They make a mistake, you make another clearance, and all of a sudden you're the one with the momentum. So it's all about taking the first opportunity he gets.
Well, he might not get an opportunity here, because that is a sledgehammer of a break from David McNamara.
That's as good a break as he's hit in this match. He really hit them with authority. Not the best shot he's ever played. Not quite landed where he wanted to with the cue ball. Nearly missed the pot. These yellows are nicely open. They've all got a pocket, but he does need to get control of that white and land nicely on the one down the rail.
He's firing these in. He's feeling it, isn't he?
Time out, please.
Oh, you hear David called total. That's a little bit unfortunate to be total snookered. He did try and move that yellow off the side cushion. I thought he might leave it there and back himself to land on it and play it down the cushion, just because the way he's potting is so clean right now. The only thing I would say if he was trying to move it was possibly just overhit it. He didn't need to get it out too far, just a few inches off the cushion or into the middle of the table would have been fine, but he's still very unlucky to snooker himself.
The way these are set here for Kyle isn't easy. That's a great skill shot to kick things off. It wasn't an easy pot, and to clear out one of the yellows there will actually be a real boost to him. It almost goes against everything that an amateur player thinks about, and you never want to pot your opponent's ball, but actually it's so advantageous to Kyle in that situation. The level that these players are at, they absolutely never expect to miss or to make a mistake, and the clearer that path can be, the better.
I was just thinking to myself, we were talking about the fact that he needed an opportunity, he needed to take it. He's got his opportunity and he hasn't taken it. Okay, it wasn't the easiest pot in the world, but it was one he would have expected to make. And he's left it really simple for David. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's incredible. That's absolute. That could turn this whole set around. That is a very strange shot from David McNamara.
Time running.
He's off the cushion and he's absolutely dead straight. But he could have just potted that into the side of the pocket and had no problem. He's just got it all wrong. Just thinking with that mistake that Kyle had made, that could be the final moment for him in this match in terms of David McNamara looks certain to be going.
Oh, look at the way the scoreboard's looking. There's 6 minutes left. It would have been 4-1 with 3 easy roll-ins.
Oh no. Kyle's really gone here. He's really struggling. That's Two bad misses in this frame, and for David McNamara to make the mistake he's just made and still have an opportunity to win this frame, I think he is on the edge of winning this match.
There's been some fantastic pull from both players in this game, but what there also has been, by virtue of a couple of big misses and moments, is drama.
That's what this format gives you. There's mistakes in there. The mistakes add to the drama. There's been some fantastic pull. There's been a couple of very strange mistakes, but you know, in set number 1 and 2, there's no way in the world Kyle will have missed either of those 2 pots. He gets put under the pressure from David, and he misses 2 bad balls, and all of a sudden he has it all to do.
David McNamara is 1 frame from the quarterfinals. Goodness me, that doesn't tell the whole story of that last frame.
Well, both players will feel they should have won it probably 2 or 3 times. It really was one of those frames.
Coming up tomorrow on the Super Series, Mark Farnsworth, the 2019 World Champ, is in action. He takes on Ben Rolwan from 6 o'clock. That is a Tuesday evening sorted. Reserve those sofa spots. You're not going to want to miss it.
Mark Farnsworth is one of the players I was really looking forward to seeing in this format of the game. And Ben Rolwan, a fantastic young player. As Kyle throws the white off the table, almost losing a little bit of focus out there. Going for the extreme power, and he mishit that by quite a considerable margin. He caught that front ball, probably half ball. The white flies off the table. I think he knows with that last frame his race is almost run.
It's been a brilliant match, it really has. And in many ways, 3-1 wouldn't begin to tell the story, but Carl Brown has been given a reprieve there, because that's a bad miss from David McNamara.
I think anyone who had tuned in the last few minutes would have said, what are we talking about with both players? You know, we've said both players have played some fantastic ball tonight, and they really have. But in the last 5 minutes, there has been some very strange mistakes on both sides of the table.
It's a bit more like it from Kyle. Really good shot. Took 2 for the money.
He would have preferred 1 to stay on the table.
I was just about to say, yeah, that would have been his next shot.
Yeah, he's a touch unlucky, but again, probably played it a touch firm. And that was a long shot, trying to come off 1 to pop the other into a tight middle pocket, handing over the table to David McNamara with a wide open chance to wrap this match up. Although it's another loose shot from David. This red does cut back, and he can just about control the white into the middle of the table.
Just needs to just compose himself here. I think the way that he's been flying around the table, it has been brilliant to watch when he's flying. When he's not playing well, I think he needs that extra just couple of seconds just to compose himself and just to make sure. Two shots then. We've seen him in this position before. This for the match. David McNamara for the quarterfinals. Black is good, and the white ball is as well. That will do it. David McNamara heads into the Super Series quarterfinals. Welcome back to the West Midlands. What a fantastic game we've just witnessed in the Super Series. David McNamara taking the win over Carl Brown. And Simon, that was a game which had, I mean, pretty much everything is the shortest way to describe it.
So much drama. It was Carl Brown played some great pool at the start of the match, got himself a lead, and then set number 2, things really, well, came down to 1 shot almost. And then once David got himself in front, he really, you know, he grabbed the match by the scruff of the neck and he ran away with it. Although a couple of shots at the end there, he nearly tried to give it back.
Well, we can hear from our winner tonight. He joins us now. David, big congratulations. That was an incredible game to watch. What was that like to play in?
It was tough. I'm sweating. It feels like I've done a 5K. I've never done one, but I'm guessing that's what it feels like. You know, honestly, it was tense out there. Even though there's no crowd, it was tough as well, and there was some really good stuff in there, but there was some really bad stuff in there as well. I think that just was down to the shot clock and the situation and the pressure, and it's hot out there with the weather today. It's roasting, so yeah, I'm just happy to get over the line. Really, I thought I played okay from set three. Got lucky to win the second set, didn't I? But yeah, don't know why in the end.
Well, let's talk first of all about that incredible moment at the end of set number 2. Obviously already 1-0 down, despite actually playing pretty well at the start of set 1. At the end of set 2, both of you had opportunities to win that final frame decider in the final minute. What's going through your head when you see Kyle come to the table with a pretty routine set of yellows? Are you thinking that's it, game done, we go again?
Yeah, I'm thinking just get yourself to come from 2-0 down, really, that's about it. I couldn't see him missing. He's played some really good stuff, Kyle, in the first 3 sets. He struggled in that last set, but, I didn't expect him anything like that to happen. It just, we got a bit lucky. And that was that, really. I thought I've got to take advantage of it while I can, and I did that.
You started off set number 3, losing the opening 2 frames, but almost looked like, to us anyway, that you almost gave yourself a bit of a talking to. It looked like you had a bit more focus. You almost knew it was the crunch time of the match. Kyle wasn't going to give it to you. You were going to have to find a gear and play your best pool to get back into the match, and you were able to do that.
Yeah, I think I was 2-0 down, and I started breaking well then. I had a few breaking runs, maybe off his as well. I mean, sometimes with the 15-second shot clock, it sometimes helps. You just see the first ball you hit, you can see, and you play that. And sometimes you can overthink stuff, especially when you're playing on telly and you're behind as well. So I think in that third set, the shot clock actually helped me then just to switch off and just play some pool, really.
Yeah, you started playing some absolutely brilliant stuff, rattling off frame after frame after frame. And did you feel at that point that you were starting to really turn the screw on Kyle, because it almost seemed to make him start to feel the pressure a bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one, that, because I felt like just play my game and it'll be okay. But then I think, like I say, when I went 2-0 down in that third set, I was thinking of, do you know what I mean? He's got to make a few mistakes, and fortunately for me, we both did. But I think he just made a couple more and ended up taking advantage.
You made a mistake when you didn't land on the black, almost quit on the shot, and you didn't get on the black when you were really flying at that point.
You knew he's going to. We knew we were going to bring that one up.
Yeah.
But the point I want to make is that the fact that I was so impressed with your very next visit. I think it was a break and dish. You made a great clearance to really get yourself back on the front foot. You didn't let that really careless mistake affect you.
Yeah, well, I literally got on the reds, and it was like I was pinching pockets. I didn't want to hit it too hard, and I thought, I can't fail to be on the black if I just cue it straight, and I just jabbed at it. It was like a bit of a twitch, really, twitch the ball. And as soon as I landed there, I thought, I'm going to get hammered for this back home if I lose this set. So, I think he won that game, and like I said, I just got over it because I felt like I was cueing a bit well then. So, yeah, break dish, and then I forgot about it, really.
Got a bit harem-scarum towards the end in that final set. It almost seemed whenever we got to the final 5 minutes of a set, that was sort of in the balance. It almost just triggered something, like wacky races out on the table. It got a bit crazy towards the end. How pleased were you just to get over the line with a set to spare?
Yeah, I was made up, to be honest. My head had gone, well, not gone, but I wasn't thinking that straight in that final set. I forgot it was first to 5. When I went 5-1 up, I was like, okay, just run down the shot clock here. And then he shouted, well done. And Donna walked off. I was like, what's going on? Oh, yeah, I thought, I won. But yeah, I threw some in that last set. I think I went 2-1 up and then we both played some poor pool then. But, I think that was just the scenario of the competition, really. It was quick fire pool and, yeah, made some mistakes, but, it happens in this set.
How much did you enjoy the shootout format? You've got a place in the quarterfinals now to look forward to in this Super Series. Feeling like you're au fait with it now?
Yeah. To be honest, I'm made up the way I played then, even though I made a lot of mistakes. I haven't played any match pool over the last 4 months. I've had a few knocks, but, it's completely different when you're playing someone else, especially when you're playing such a good player like Kyle. So, I've got the first win under my belt. I'm going to have a few more practices. Hopefully the lockdown restrictions ease and I can have a few match sets with a friend or something, and then hopefully be prepared to take on Marco Ben.
Do you find there's a difference between, you could practice as much as you want, but there's a big difference between having quality of practice, almost having a little bit of an edge against a very good player, and having the match practice from tournaments, from just going to your local club and knocking balls around?
Yeah, I think that's massive, the match practice, tournament play, like match fit sort of thing. It sounds daft and pool, but, you know, when you go to practice on your own or you're playing with a friend, you're just really just trying to take out the best finish you can. But, you know, and there's no, you're not getting really punished, are you, if you lose a set in a practice session. But when you're in a tournament, you know, especially first to fives, the short, quick fire, you're under pressure. So yeah, the match fitness definitely kicked in there for both of us, I think.
Well, I think those balls potted on the AstroTurf into the mugs really made the difference in the end, Dave. Big congratulations, mate. We can't wait to watch you in the quarterfinals.
Wonderful, can't wait. Thank you very much.
We will see you very soon, and he's going to play either of Mark Farnsworth or Ben Rowland. They join us tomorrow. We'll be back after this to analyse this a little bit more. Welcome back to the show here on Free Sports. The Super Series pool has given us such brilliant entertainment, but maybe none more so than tonight in a game that had pretty much everything. David McNamara makes his way through to the quarterfinals, and the phrase stats don't always tell the full story. Never truer here, but can we try and string a narrative together?
Well, I think both players at times in this match played really well. We look at that. There's 2 breaking dishes each, 2 reverse dishes each. You know, tells you that both players at times were playing well. Carl's all came early, and David's came a little bit later on. The big stats we can look at there is the fact that Carl's break never really got going. He was always working hard off his own break. He couldn't find anything he was really happy with. Slightly better for David McNamara, but as we've said already, the fouls, the big stat on that whole thing is foul 1 for Carl Brown. That's cost him set number 2 when he was already 1-0 ahead.
I think an indicator of just how close that game was, considering it felt like David almost ran away with it at the end there. His total frames won, only 2 in it, which just shows the advantage of set play. It keeps things exciting and entertaining, but the overall level, very, very similar. And let's take a look at some of the highlights, because there were some mad moments, there were some brilliant moments. This was early on from David McNamara, a wonderful skill shot to really just set the tone.
He started the match really strongly, actually. I think, other than a break and dish from Carl Brown in the first frame, he was able to reel off 3 straight frames to get himself going, and then almost came off the boil a little bit, and Carl was the stronger player.
Yeah, some brilliant work from both players. Saw some brilliant skill shots and a couple of really, really clutch pots as well. This was a big black into the middle pocket.
This was the biggest shot of the match. This was the defining moment of set number 2. Carl Brown going in off in that fashion, and that cost him the set with only a few seconds left on the clock. David was able to clear up and win the set, get himself going.
How about this for a shot, Si?
Yeah, this is absolutely brilliant. I love the pace he's played this shot at, and I love the reaction as well.
What we didn't see there is we just see the mistake from David McNamara that almost let Carl back into the match. Was the shot before that double with the black into the middle swerved around a full ball to pop the final yellow in this sequence. It was a remarkable end to the game in that sense.
And a really key time in the match as well. That's really when, if he loses that frame, that sets very much in the balance, and that shot, well, both those 2 shots really sort of continued his dominance. But for me, it all came down to that deciding moment in set number 2. That was pretty huge in this match.
Yeah, 2-0 versus 1-1 makes such a big difference. It does secure a place in the quarterfinals then for Dave McNamara. He will face either Mark Farnsworth or Ben Rowland, so he's not going to have it any easier. It's only getting tougher in that quarterfinal. Let's have a little look at that match before we head into La Liga tonight on Free Sports. Mark Farnsworth, Ben Rowland, 2019 world champ. Ben Rowland is a very good player in his own right, and he will not let Mark Farnsworth settle if he can.
Absolutely. Ben Rowland is a young player, a dedicated player, a player that really is trying to make his way in the game. He plays a few different versions of the game. He's often out to China to play in Chinese 8-ball. He's really well supported, and we haven't seen a huge amount of him on Free Sports, but he has a lot of ability, and if he can sort of put some consistency together, then we could see him deep in some tournaments, and he really could give Mark some trouble. But Mark Farnsworth is one of the legends of the game. He really is a former world champion last year. He dominated the game for a little while, number 1 in the rankings, winning title after title after title. We haven't seen him in this format of the game, but I have a feeling this format of the game is going to really suit him. His patterns are so good that he keeps the game nice and simple, and I think he could play at the pace and he could really put on a show for us.
And we take a look at the 3 games remaining that will be played across the dates of 30th of June, 1st of July and the 2nd of July. We've got Simon Fitzsimmons against Sean Storey, Gav Robinson against Alex O'Donoghue, and Mason Penny against Jordan Shepherd. 3 brilliant games still to come, which will round out the round of 16, head us into 4 fantastic quarterfinals.
Well, it's already shaping up really well, isn't it? We've got some big names come through. We've seen some brilliant matches already so far. We've still got Simon Fitzsimmons to come, who, with everything that he did in Aberdeen in the grand final. We've got the star of the shootout, Jordan Shepherd, who is probably the favourite for the tournament and the 2019 World Champion. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it really is. And make sure you do stay with us. What have you enjoyed the most about this shootout so far, Simon? We've seen so many different games across the first 4 days of the competition here in the Super Series. A little bit of everything. But tonight almost seemed to take what we had in Game 1, Game 2 and Game 3, throw it all together into the melting pot and create some true shootout drama. The end of set 2 there being the perfect example.
Well, the thing I've loved so far about the shootout is that this format and sets in particular, but also coupled with the shootout rules, it really does create a lot of drama. You know, we see mistakes from players because they're put under pressure. They're put under so much time pressure, not just from the set clock, but also from the shot clock, that mistakes come in. But mistakes create drama. But we've also seen some fantastic pull from every player that's played. But we've also seen some of the champions really step up when the pressure is on. And the thing I liked about tonight was the fact that we saw both players at times play really, really well, and it took a player to really step up, grab the match by the scruff of the neck, find his best form, and really sort of get to grips with the match.
Yeah, we've still got 3 games, of course, to come in the next block, but tomorrow's game between Mark Farnsworth and Ben Rowland could be a really interesting one. And we've talked about Mark Farnsworth a lot. He's very familiar to those who regularly watch the pool on Free Sports. Been a fixture in the last couple of years across so many different tournaments. That run in 2019 where he finally got his world title that it felt like he'd been waiting for forever really just cemented his status as one of the best around. And if you really narrow his game down, does the shot clock actually play in his favour? Because theoretically he's one of the slower players, not necessarily flashy or anything like that, but a bit more methodical. But actually the speed of thought of Mark Farnsworth could really factor in and make him a lethal weapon.
Absolutely. I actually personally think the shot clock is going to work in his favour. As well, time will tell. We'll find out. But he is slightly slower than some players, but he's slower because he likes to just make sure of the angles and almost steady himself for the shot. But I've seen him play in tournaments when he's a little bit more relaxed, maybe slightly less serious tournaments, when he's just in full flow and his patterns are just coming out naturally. He's playing at 15 seconds a shot without really thinking about it. And for me, I think the reason I think he will settle in to the shot clock is the fact that I think his patterns are so good. He keeps the game so simple. You feel like he's making clearances where he's just potting straight ball, straight ball, straight ball, because he works his way around the table so well. I think if you can keep it simple, then you can keep the shot clock out of it.
Simon, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We've loved having you as ever. Plenty more to come tonight on Free Sports. The live sport does not stop. We are very soon heading to Spain. La Liga has resumed. We love to see it back, and Free Sports, one of the homes of La Liga. Real Betis taking on Granada. Granada can move up to 7th place in La Liga with a victory in Betis tonight. And tomorrow the Super Series continues here on Free Sports. Mark Farnsworth against Ben Rowland. We've done all the hype that we possibly can for this one. You do not want to miss it. Going to be absolutely brilliant. That's coming to you at 6 o'clock tomorrow. Well, that would do us from the West Midlands. It's been an absolutely fabulous night here. We hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see you again tomorrow. Same time, same place. Do join us.
Too fast, too fly, too funny, too gas, too high, yeah, we on it. We go wherever the crew going. I'm ready, so tell me who want it.
This program is brought to you by Taom Billiards.